Hippocrates, peri aeron, hydaton, topon, chapter 5. The author introduces his second pair of cities in his discussion about winds, those with prevalent winds from the east and from the west. Perimen ton thermon pneumaton, kai ton psychron, kai ton polaon tuton, hoda eke hos proeretai. As then to the hot winds, the cold winds, and the corresponding cities, it is as just has been said. Et decalidis quidem ventis ac frigidis et urbibus ad hos cities, hoc modo velut dictest res se habet. Hoc causae de ceontai prosta pneumata ta metaxiu ton therinon anatoleon tu heliu, cae ton chimerinon, hoc causae prosta pneumata ta metaxiu ton therinon anatoleon tu heliu, cae ton chimerinon, cae hoc causae to enantion tuton, hoda ecce peri auton. As to the cities facing the winds between the summer and winter risings of the sun, and to the cities opposite to these, it is as follows. Quaecunque vero civitates sitae sunt inter aestivos ac hibernos solus ortus, quaecunque sitae sunt inter aestivos ac hibernos solus ortus, et quaecunque ex opposito harum de his ita habet. Hoc causae men prostas anatolas tu heliu ceontai, tautas ecos enae hygienoteras ton prostas arctus estramenon, cae ton prosta therma pneumata, in cae stadion to metaxiu e. Those then that face the risings of the sun, it is likely these are healthier than those that are turned toward the bears and those turned toward the hot winds, even though they be but a stade apart. Two cities can be very close to one another geographically, but differ significantly in health based on their prevalent winds. Quae quidem ad orientem solem sitae sunt, eas par est esse salubriores his quae ad septentrionem conversae sunt, et his quae ad calados ventos sitae sunt, etiam si stadium solum intersit. The men at the beginning of this sentence finds its corresponding de at the beginning of the next chapter on westerly winds. Now why would cities with easterly winds be healthier than those with northerly or southerly winds? Proton men metrioteron ecce to thermon cae to psychron. In the first place, the heat and the cold are more moderate. Primum enim moderatior est caliditas et frigiditas. Epeta ta hydata hocosa prostas tu heliu anatolasisti panta lamprata enae ananque cae eodea cae malaca e erata me ingignistai in taute te pole. Hogar helios colue an iskon cae catalampon. Togar heothinon hecastota autoso ecce hosepito polu. Next, it is necessary that all the waters that face the risings of the sun must be clear and sweet-smelling and soft, and that fog does not beset this city. For the sun prevents this, shining down upon them, that is, the waters, from the moment it rises. I say this because every day beginning at dawn, the fog on its own accord lingers a long time. Deinde aquas quae ad solus ortus sunt, omnes splendidas esse neces est, et odoratas et moles et amabiles oriri in hac civitate. Sol enim emergens ac illustrans ipsas castigat. Matutinum enim tempus ips aer ut plurimum semper occupat. We made the point in our Chapter 2 video presentation on the textual history of AWP, Habent sua fata libelli, that sometimes the reading the editor chooses among textual variants makes a big difference in the meaning. We have here a case in point. In his Vetus Codex, now lost, Gabaldino read "E era te me," or something close to it. This is the reading chosen by Diller and Joanna, and for argument's sake, let's say it's correct. Some scribal errors are caused by the characteristics of the Greek uncial script. In this case, "E era te me," scrunched together with no accents and no spaces between words, was misread by a scribe as "E era te na," the reading in V. Emended to "Kai era te na," this was translated by Cornarius as "et amabiles," and by Jones as "and delightful." So in their text, eratana is just a fourth adjective for hudata. There is no er. Notice that the Lat. II manuscript had another twist on the uncial in ioticism, producing hiera teme. But accepting eera teme as the correct reading, and understanding er in the context here to mean fog, we get an entirely different interpretation. It is necessary that the waters be clear and that fog does not happen in this city. Why? Because the sun, from the moment it rises, an iskon, and shines down, katalampon, upon the easterly facing waters, prevents the formation of fog. And this in turn is explained by another gar clause, togar heotinon hekastote autos ho eer ep eke hosa pito polu. But hold on, what does that mean? Think about it. Doesn't it seem to contradict what just preceded? That every day the fog at dawn typically prevails? Jones, for his part, simply marked the overall passage as corrupt. Diller excised ho eer, making autos refer to the sun. Joanna argues that the second gar clause can be interpreted as follows. First, the explanatory particle gar can have the meaning, "I say this because." He gets this from Deniston's authoritative work, Greek Particles. Second, the intensive pronoun autos can have the pregnant meaning "on its own." Hence, "I say this because every day beginning at dawn, the fog on its own, that is, unhindered by the sun, lingers a long time." Joanna also points out another possibility, the type of copying error where the scribe's eye jumps from like to like, creating a lacuna. The Arab translation of Galen's Lamata supports a Greek model such as this, where the scribe's eye could have jumped after autos ho eer to ho aer epeke, thus inadvertently leaving out of his copy the bracketed text. The waters are clear, but the text is murky. Habent sua fata libelli. Pata eda ton anthropon el croata kai anterasti malon e ale in metis nusos colue, lam proponoite hoi anthropoi orgente kai xunasin beltius esi ton prosporeen heper kai tala ta empu omena ameno estin. And the bodies of the inhabitants have an attractive and blooming complexion, more so than elsewhere, unless some disease prevents this, and the inhabitants are clear-voiced, and with respect to temperament and intelligence, better than those facing Boreas, just as all things growing there are better. In other words, animals and plants also look better and healthier in these regions. Et hominum formae boni colores sunt et magus floridae, si non quis alius morbus prohibeat. Et clara voce praedati sunt homines, et ad iram ac intelligentiam praestantiores septentrionalibus, siquidem et alia quae in ipsa nascuntur meliora existunt. The inhabitants' complexions are anthera, blooming, from to anthos, flower. You learned the word anthos in Janua de Metallis, but there it had the specialized meaning of the lustrous surface of certain metals, or in that sentence, the verdigris that forms on copper. E oiketa malista he huto kemene polis eri, kataten metrioteta tu thermu kai tu psykrou. And a city so situated, above all, resembles spring, as judged by the moderation of the heat and the cold. Et civitas quae hoc modo sit est, vere maxime similis est, juxta caliditatis ac frigiditatis moderationem. Tata nocelmata elasa men gignitae cae astenestera, eoicade toisin in tesi polisi gignomenoisi nocelmasi, tesi prostatherma pneumata estramenisin. And the diseases occur on the one hand in fewer numbers and more mildly, and they resemble the diseases occurring in the cities facing the hot winds. Et morbi pauciores fiunt ac debiliores, similesque sunt morbis qui in civitatibus ad ventos calidos conversis ora untur. Haetecunices autoti aricumonesisi spodra cae tictusi re idios. And the women there are quite fecund, and have easy deliveries. Et feminae istic valde fecundae sunt, ac facile paraunt. In this city, the women are aricumones. As you build up your Greek vocabulary, arikumon is one of those words whose meaning you might be able to guess based on what looks to be its roots. It is constructed from the inseparable prefix ari, cognate with areion, aristos, the root q, as in the verbs qeo and qo, and the common adjectival ending mon. Women's ability to produce strong, healthy children was seen as an indicator of a thriving and even of a just city. The author's overall idealization of this city somehow reminded me of Garrison Keillor's Welcome to Lake Woebegone, where all the women are strong, all the men are good-looking, and all the children are above average, an American cultural reference some of you may be familiar with. The description of this ideal city reminded Jacques Jouanna of this passage in Hesiod's Works and Days. The English translation I'm giving is mostly that of Apostolos Athanasakis. Ude pot ithudicesi met andrasi limos opede ud ate, nor does starvation follow men whose justice is straight, nor ruin, thaliesde memelota erga nemontai. But amid feasts such men enjoy the yield of their labors. Toisi pere men gaia polunbio, uresi dedrus, acre mente pere balanus, messe de melissas. For them the earth brings forth a rich harvest, and in the mountains the top of an oak teems with acorns, and the middle with bees. Eropokoi doies malois kata bebritasi. Fleecy sheep are weighted down with wool. Tictusin de gunaikes e oikota tekna gonelsi, and the women bear children who resemble their fathers. Talusin dagatoisi di amperes, ud epineon nisontai carponde pere zdedoros arura. There is an abundance of blessings, nor must they sail on the sea, rather the sea-giving field yields a harvest. Both Hesiod and Hippocrates describe an ideal city. The difference is, according to Jouanna, for the ancient divine and moral law of the poet, the physician has substituted a natural and rational law. Did the Hippocratic physician outright reject religion, at least as far as it pertained to healing? That's a hard question to answer because the question assumes there was such a thing as a Hippocratic physician, that is, a physician who graduated, so to speak, from the Hippocratic school of medicine. And that assumes there was such a thing as an identifiable and cohesive Hippocratic theory of medicine, whereas there are significant contradictions on specific matters of doctrine and practice within the collection of written works known as the Hippocratic corpus. In the day-to-day life of the average Greek, religion and a rational approach to medicine coexisted for hundreds of years. That's really no different than today. Diagnosed with a potentially fatal disease, a typical person today might simultaneously resort to prayer and to an online search for the best scientific literature on the disease. Returning to Asclepius, one of the best attested medical practices in antiquity is called incubation, in which the patient sleeps overnight in a temple of Asclepius known as an Asclepieion, the best known as an Epidaurus, and is healed through divine dreams. If you happen to learn Greek from Oxford University Press's Athanase, you saw this colorfully narrated in the experience of Dicaeopolis and his family. The 3rd to 4th century CE Neoplatonist writer Iamblichus described it thusly: Houtos en Asclepiumen ta nosemata tois theois onerois pauetai, diade tentaxin ton nuctor epipaneon he iatrice techne sin este apo ton hieron oneraton. Thus, in the Asclepieion, illnesses are healed by divine dreams. Through the ordinance of visions that occur at night, the medical art was composed from divinely inspired dreams. This method of cure was certainly not part of the Hippocratic iatrice techne. The 2nd century CE Greek orator Elias Aristides had personal experience of divine visitations at the Asclepieion in Pergamum, which he described vividly in 6 books called the Hieroi Logoi. Here is a short excerpt. Tauta de epanthe ta onerata, ia truta hekontos, kai pareskewas menu boethen hosa epenoe. These dreams were revealed when the doctor came ready to aid according to his own lights. Hos de ecusa ton oneraton, autos de hup ecore nun econ toite oi, kai hemes egnorisdomen ton aletinon, kai hemin pros econta iatron, kai epoiumen ha epetaxen. When he heard the dreams, he was wise enough to yield place to the god, and we recognized the true physician fitting to us, and we did what he prescribed. This was the first chapter in the East-West pair. In broad outline, it was like the South and North chapters. The author defined the orientation of the city with respect to the horizon, then characterized its water, the general constitution of the inhabitants, and the nature and type of local diseases. But he did so with less detail and mostly by way of generalized comparisons with the north-south cities, since the city with easterly exposure is presented as the golden mean, as it were, between the extremes of the latter. On the basis of symmetry, however, you may predict, spoiler alert, that the cities oriented to the sun's setting combine the worst of these extremes.